Now I
Hi,
can
Mr. Velasquez, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you mute your mic and check if you can share your screen? Hi, Mr. Velasquez, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you mute your mic and check if you can share your screen?
Are we live already?
I can hear you.
Great.
I'm over here logged on from home and ready to present.
Very good. You just told me, Mom, I'm logged on too.
Yeah.
Can you mute your mic and check if you can
Here we
share?
go, found it. Okay, who am I sending this
I
to?
can hear you.
Araceli.
I'm over here
I don't know.
logged on from home and ready to present.
You just told me, Mom, I'm logged on too.
Nice.
Okay, I need Araceli's email if I'm going to send it to her. Wait a second, let me see if I can find it. Wait a second, 1 minute. I've got the message. Okay,
Benitez, B-E-N,
A-I-T-E-Z.
yes, ma'am. And then the number 2
It's not the first one, okay.
at ESC19.
Is that okay with you?
Yes. Oh, here it came up.
Yes.
Let's see.
So I'm trying to. That's like this. It keeps going away.
Hopefully this will do it. And this is the one to David Zablosky, but the only thing different between the two was that I changed the names.
Yeah, okay, just need to look for it.
You sent it to me like.
What?
Thank you.
I sent you, I wrote the same letter to you and Dr. Aguirre. I just basically changed the headings on it.
Did you?
Am I on?
I can hear you, John. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
This is Joe Limon.
And just before we get started, an announcement for the board. If you will kindly address the chair before you speak, just so that we can make sure that we don't miss you and we don't have any confusion during the session. So if you kindly do that, I think the meeting will be a lot smoother. Also, for those of you who are on Zoom, already made the announcement here to the rest of the board, and I'm hoping you can hear me now. The meeting is going to be live streamed on YouTube. So just FYI for all of you who are Zooming in.
Both of them?
Yes. I'll make a little announcement there.
Just hope you just appear so to keep the social distance. I don't know if
Se pone la máscara.
Sí. Máscara, I like it.
I know.
Have you seen Andy's mask? Andy? It's a
Luchador.
wrestler, luchador.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Me puse una también, pero no se nota.
Mine is invisible.
It is neutral color. Was it transparent? No, it's so transparent.
Sí. It's like that one that Kathy was talking about, the race car driver.
Yeah, he just won the NASCAR, put on his mask, and they had taken a photo of his nose and mouth. So they had a big grin that was really his face on his mask.
On the
It was
mask.
awesome.
They were social distancing.
Yeah, hell, not sure that's considered social distancing.
Banging against each other. No success?
Yes, we're working through it. We're making progress.
Thanks. Keeping your fingers crossed.
Okay, then just, can you copy the link? Can you highlight it? Yeah, so just highlight the whole link and then just, right click and copy. And then just click on the browser.
Dr. Again, I have a random question.
Like phone,
I don't remember if you sent it or what. We got something, a link about security on the internet. I think that came
The
to
training?
Region 19. Yeah, the training.
It was
Yes,
ours.
yes.
Yes. Are we supposed to do anything once we finish it? Do you need, I did print the certificates, but I didn't print.
No, I think they got a report back, because I
Okay.
checked to see if everyone had taken it, and they said yes.
Yeah.
Angie, when it comes to that security, cybersecurity link that we had to fill out, we're done. The board doesn't do anything else with it, right?
It just suddenly occurred to me. I thought, it was
Yeah.
interesting doing it.
I asked the same question, and that was the response. It's already done. Every board member's signed in. and
We
did
were
it.
all good kids.
I didn't get a certificate.
You could print it.
Frame one.
And we can't even give you an attaboy, because we give it from your attaboy, right? You have to give it long distance.
Remember the line where you say, it's in the mail? It's in the email.
It's in the junk mail.
Okay.
We hear.
Well, we do have a quorum, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and so please log in whenever Miss Pat becomes live. So are we on at the camera and all? Yes?
Yes, sir, we're on. We did lose Mr. Alden.
Uh-oh. We still have a quorum.
Mr. Limon is still on.
You have a quorum.
We still have a quorum, however, we need to try to reach him somehow and determine what might have transpired. I mean, I don't know if he logged off or he was.
Because we saw him. I actually saw it.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there. He got tired. He decided he was leaving.
Well, anyway, we're already live on camera, and we've given it. I think Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube is a 30-second delay, and so consequently, we've, I guess, spoken for over 30 seconds. So we're certainly live. For those who are listening electronically, this is our very first opportunity and attempt at doing all this technology, and we thank Jose for all the work that he's been doing and the preparation of the rest of the staff for getting this accomplished. We certainly hope that it goes well for everyone. We do have a quorum, and we do have a couple of board members who have logged on, or one has logged on and has, for some reason, gone off our Zoom screen. And we do have another board member who is attempting to log on. However, we do have a quorum. We have Blanca Topete, we have Kathy Becker, and we have Fred Sanchez and myself, David Sublaski. And we also have Joe Limon, who is on Zoom. So we do have a quorum, and with that, what we're going to do is we generally have our invocation, and we're going to ask Blanca Topete to give the invocation. We have pledges of allegiance immediately afterwards, led by Kathy Becker. And with that, I'll turn it over to Blanca Topete.
Please bow your head. Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for allowing us to gather for today's board meeting. Please guide us to make sound decisions for the benefit of everyone in the Region 19 umbrella. We thank you for the resilience shown by and parents to help them finish this school year. And we also like to lift up anyone that has directly been affected by the COVID-19 virus. May you bring them health and speedy recovery. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. I like that I can read it really well. As non-native Texans.
Thank you. Thank you for the invocation and the pledges of allegiance. We appreciate you very much. And so I'm going to read a statement just for everyone's edification. The board received a packet of information last week related to topics on today's agenda. Each board member has had an opportunity to review the information prior to the meeting. We've had opportunity to call in, ask questions, and get clarification. It is the policy of the board that if members of the audience wish to address the board, they must sign the form at the entrance. Also, for those of you who are connected via the internet, We, of course, will also allow you to connect via Zoom, and I believe the link has been provided on YouTube. And so if you have a comment that you would like to make during the meeting, please go ahead and sign in with Zoom. Let Jose know so that we're well informed that you want to make that comment. The hard part is that once we go beyond that item on the agenda, it will be very difficult for us to go back, especially in the action items. So we'll go ahead and go to item F, which is information. It's a part of our information items, and it's certainly a statement of elected officials, officers, excuse me, and the oath of office. We have Fred Sanchez will be on place 2, representing YISD, Isleta ISD, and Patricia Ramirez, place 5, who we're waiting to sign in with Socorro ISD, and they were both recently reelected to the board of directors via an uncontested elections in those two races. The statement of elected officer and oath of office will be administered today by Notary Public Araceli Benitez. If Patricia is not able to log in for whatever reason, we will, of course, try to get her to do that at an individual, at a time that's convenient for her to do so. Okay, so if you, Fred.
Please stand and raise your right hand. And you can start your statement of elected officer, please.
I, Fred Sanchez, do solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public official or employment for the giving of or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment on confirmation, whichever the case may be, so help me God.
And your oath of office, also raise your right hand, please.
I, Fred Sanchez, do solemnly swear that I would faithfully execute the duties of the Office of Education Service Center, Region 19 Board of Director of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States of this state, so help me God.
Hard run, hard one.
Congratulations, Mr. Sanchez, and of course, again, we'll administer the oath and also the statement of elected officers to Patricia Ramirez at a later date. That moves us then to item G, which is the consent agenda. We have a couple of action items there. Just for everyone's information, we can vote with one motion to approve the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have item 2, consideration and possible approval of minutes of regular Board of Directors meeting of 4/23/2020. And we also have consideration and possible ratification of the 4 budget amendments that, of course, we've had a week to review. Do I hear a motion?
So move.
We have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And moves us on then to item H, information items, where it purchases as per resolution by the Board of Directors and Purchasing Cooperative. And of course, there's quite a long list, and it's always great to see these contracts and contract extensions, the co-op contracts as well. Even though we are facing the challenge of COVID-19, we continue to grow there, and that's thank you for the good work there. Anybody have any questions or comments? There being none, we move then to item 5, which is the Executive Director's Report. And you have a separate cover the yellow cover sheet at the board table.
Thank you, Mr. Sablaski. So we do have a few items that we want to discuss today. And of course, we want to start off with our construction of both the conference center as well as our nature museum. I'm going to ask John Alarcon to step forward and share a quick overview, starting with the conference center. And of course, we'll chime in and ask and add questions or thoughts as we go forward. So thank you, John.
Chairman Zabloski, Dr. Aguirre, members of the board. I have a progress update on the conference center, which is coming up right here. Our camera is down. We were hoping it'd be back up today, so if you had been logging in, you haven't been able to see anything, but our hope is that tomorrow it should be back up. So right now, BTC is in the progress of doing multiple things. On the site work side, we're expecting the delivery of the stormwater retention next week. Once that comes in on June 26th, it's going to start installation right away. We've already got the pit ready, or BTC has the pit ready, and so that should be a quick installation. There's been some demo over in the building C area, and part of the rock wall that's going to become a new walkway is 100% complete as of today. Demolition is 100% complete for the full site. For the building, we're at 60% completion on the underground plumbing.
Okay. Thank you.
50% on the underground plumbing and electrical. We're at 8% completion of the excavation for the concrete grade beams. Those are your vertical beams. We're at 10% completion on the pit floors for the elevators. Minhades Mora has issued 5 architectural reports, and everything is moving along well. Pavetex is doing ongoing material testing. We haven't had any bad reports come in on any of the materials being used at this point. And that's a plus. Looking ahead for the building, we're looking at construction of walls to start tomorrow, actually, and you'll start to see them going up vertically right in the middle of the conference center. And you might have noticed, and I'll show you on some photos, that the pillars are up. And the reason for that is because that's where the ramp is going to start to go. So there's some dirt work that has to happen in that area. And so they're trying to get that completed so they can get the heavy equipment out. Fire riser installation will also happen next week. And then we will be looking at the crane installation, which will be here for the duration of the project on June 10th. So that's where we are. I'd like to show you a little photo so you can kind of see some of the things I was mentioning. All right, you go to the next slide. All right, so what you're looking at here is probably when you're driving in, you just get to see the tips of this. So this gives you a little bit better angle. That is the area where you'll start to see the vertical walls going up. And next week, you'll start to see the dirt work to build up that first ramp going to the second level. So once that's done, you'll start to see more of the vertical columns going up once that heavy equipment is able to move out. On the next slide, what you see in the yellow there, that's the elevator pit. So that's closest to the south side of the building. And actually, I was having lunch in the fishbowl, so I was getting to watch all of that construction going on. And it's really neat to see the activity. The photo next to that is part of the plumbing for the cafeteria and kitchen area. So that is really moving along. The next slide.
Is that 4-inch? Do you know?
It is.
Never mind.
Oversized plumbing. Yes. And those are additional. pictures of the cafeteria, kitchen area, and the mechanical rooms that are gonna all be on this west side of the building. So things are really moving along, and it's just those photos that I took just to give you a quick glance at how things are moving along. A lot of activity, which is good for us. Any questions on the rolling building?
Any other questions, folks on Zoom? You have any questions? There being none.
Done.
None.
All right, the next progress report will be on the Nature Museum. So if we could just put that. Right, under progress update as well here, there's just so many things that have happened. We talked about just putting a temporary hold on this project, but we're moving ahead. So on the look ahead, what we are planning to accomplish during the month of June is to complete the value engineering drawings that we've agreed upon. And we are also going to request through Loya a construction cost estimate. We've gone back and forth in negotiations with the JOC, and we're not comfortable with the price of it. It's just, it seems a little high. So with this construction cost estimate, it will allow us the opportunity to put it out to bid and verify these costs, and I'm sure we're going to see some better pricing.
Awesome.
During the month of July, we will advertise for bid and evaluate, and our goal is to come back to you all in August to award a contractor under an approved revised budget. And that's kind of where we're at with the Nature's Museum at this point. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
I would like to add, first of all, thank you, John, for your due diligence in doing this. Obviously, we don't want to put the Nature Museum on the back burner. We're trying to keep it afloat and we want to make it happen. So that's our intent. So what we're trying to do is, as John said, is find a better price so that we can still do what we said we're going to do. But I want to caution that if for some reason come August we still don't have those right prices, then part of the breakdown is for them to give it to us to where we can then, with the help of John and Rebecca and others, to tell us, okay, well then let's do these things now, and then we'll continue with the others moving forward. So that's part of the step process, but hopefully we could do as many steps as possible with once we get the new numbers. Also, there are parts of it that and I think you'll cover that later when it comes to the Head Start grant and being able to cover certain areas of it through that. So we're trying to find ways that will help us move forward with this project as planned, but we're being creative at the same time.
Good.
Good.
Awesome. Sounds good.
So thank you, John.
Any other questions or comments regarding these projects? I know we're that was a very, very good report, particularly in Nature Museum, that we're moving forward where we can. So we appreciate that very much for your due diligence. Appreciate it. So what we're going to do, I know we still have the scheduled monthly topics and AISS department presentation, but Patricia Ramirez is now zoomed in, if you will, and so what we're going to do is back up to the statement of elected officers and oath of office, so that we can have her sworn in place 5. So I'll turn it back over to Araceli. And Pat, I think you have the statements there before you, so you'll have to stand.
Yeah. If you can unmute your mic. Pat, if you can unmute your mic. Do you have to do it or? She is.
There's usually a place you can unmute it.
I pressed that unmute.
Can you help her?
Okay.
Okay, there you go.
Ramirez, if you could please raise your right hand.
Yes.
Just to stand.
Stand as well.
Okay. I, Patricia Ramirez, do solemnly swear that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote at the election at which I was elected, or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation, whichever the case may be, so help me God. Okay. I, Patricia Ramirez, do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the Office of Education Service Center, Region 19 Board of Directors of the State of Texas, and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state, so help me God.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Let's go then back to the executive director's report and scheduled monthly topics.
In that particular item, what we're referring to, if you go back to, I believe it was a little over a year ago, where we came up as a board, came up with a list of topics that you were interested in. And we've actually been doing them on a regular basis to include the one you hear today from Jose Velasquez regarding building categories. That's another example of us doing this on a regular basis. What we want to do is actually schedule, instead of seeing you all seeing it only on a monthly basis, where you know ahead of time as far ahead as 4 months. And so what we want to do today is share those topics so that then you can plan accordingly, and also our staff can do so. Some of them will call for us to come in a little earlier, or in this case, sign on a little earlier so we can do it. Good example would be next month. Our first topic, and David Valle, I hope you're on and you can hear us. The first topic for this will be the policy, and overview of policy and discussion of policies that impact us or you all as board members and us as a service center, so that we can do that. So that'll be our June topic. Then the July topic, as we've done in the past, will be our finances, and that'll be led by Sonia Eubank. So that'll help us with that one.
That's the one over our budget.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And of course, did you by chance give me that list? Do you have it there? So I can, okay. Because I thought I had them memorized, but I'm falling short here, guys. Sorry about that.
Don't we all?
Thank you.
The memory's the first to go, and I don't remember the second.
That's it. That's it for sure. So where did I mark it? I know that the distance learning, thank you so much. And if you have the fourth one, that would be great too. So distance learning, and that really is an important topic for all of us, in the sense that it's not only directly impacting us through our Head Start program, but it directly impacts us through the districts. And so it will give you an overview of how distance learning is being done at the schools, as well as us as an organization, how we're impacting the districts and how we're partnering in that sense. Okay. And then the fourth one.
The fourth one would be based on the review of the board as to preference.
Okay. Okay.
We did the first
So we actually have the three then, not the four. All right, thank you, and I apologize. We have three. We have three set. So next month we'll come back and give you at least one, if not two more. So that you'll always have at least three topics in advance.
Cool.
Okay, and if for some reason you all decide that there's a topic of preference that needs to be pushed up, obviously we can switch that around. But the intent is to give you a heads up and also time to discuss and plan so that then we can share that information. Okay.
Well, certainly, all the topics are very timely. The overview for policy, we'll be spending some time in review, and we've had an update here recently so that we can certainly dig in a little deeper with the policy. And then obviously our budget is upcoming, and so we can get a first-hand report on what our projections are and so forth. And then, of course, our distance learning, we're learning it right now in terms of distance learning, and so very, very appropriate at this particular time. And we obviously get to look at the list at a later date and try to pick out what would come next.
Fantastic.
So we appreciate that very much. Any questions from the board? There being none, we go to the AISS department presentation, the Reading Academy.
Yeah, so we've asked Jose Velasquez, the director of the AISS department, to share a little bit about where we're at with Reading Academies. It's a big grant and challenge that the state has put on our laps, which we take proudly, but of course it added a new twist with this whole idea of virtual learning and distance learning. But I think Jose and his team are doing a fantastic job of planning accordingly to include the other directors. It's not a one department project. It's actually an organization-wide project because it encompasses all our districts at one point or another. It's talking about reading and focusing on the state mandates of reading for all teachers and being able to reach a certain level of expectation. So with that said, without further ado, Jose?
Thank you, Dr. Aguirre. Chairman Sablaski, members of the board, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you and present a little bit of information about this great opportunity that we have here at Region 19 and throughout the state, because the Reading Academies is actually a statewide initiative. Why are we doing this? The state of Texas, along with other states in the country, recognize the importance of reading and how giving our students an early start with solid foundations in reading, so that the teachers are stronger in the science of teaching reading, it's going to promise a better future for our kids, because as they learn to read with a stronger reading instruction, they stand to then be more successful in the higher grades, because the first early grades, pre-K through second grade, is really about learning to read, while in third grade, starting in third grade, it's about reading to learn. And so with that in mind is what the state wanted to go ahead and make that a mandate, make it a requirement where by HB 3, it now requires every teacher and principal throughout the state of Texas in grades K to 3 to complete the Reading Academies by 2021 to 2022, which technically they have 3 years to complete, because if a cohort starts, a cohort of teachers and principals begins in the summer of 2022, they can actually go ahead and finish out that year to complete the modules. The districts are responsible for ensuring teachers and principals are attending these Reading Academies. So it is an opportunity throughout the state of Texas to really reset the button, strengthen the instruction that takes place in terms of developing those fundamental skills that goes into reading, so that our students are successful over time. There's 2 different ways that the districts can choose to engage in the Reading Academy. The first way is a comprehensive model. Now, mind you, these models were developed before COVID. The comprehensive model was designed primarily to be in-person training, face-to-face. So of course, now with the situation that we have, there's going to have to be a little modification in terms of what that face-to-face looks like. Nevertheless, we are moving forward with the comprehensive to any districts that choose to go that pathway. The blended model, which is where most districts are choosing, is really what we're doing right now. Me doing a presentation to you as I am at home and I'm delivering this information to you is just kind of a taste of the kind of delivery that we're going to engage in as a department at the Academic Instruction and School Support, the AISS team, as well as the other departments that are collaborating with us, because like Dr. Aguirre said, it is an interdepartmental initiative here where all of us at Region 19 are coming together to make sure that we are providing the support that our districts need to make this happen. So in the blended model, it's completely online. So all the content is delivered, the same content, by the way, is delivered through both pathways, but the blended model is delivery primarily online, just like we're doing right now. Just to kind of give you a backside story in terms of the implementation, our districts had a choice in terms of what to do because they could choose to engage as an authorized provider themselves. They themselves could have applied and gotten approved by TEA to become an authorized provider themselves. We only have one district here in our region, that's El Paso ISD, who became the authorized provider to provide the training for their own staff. The rest of the districts in our region, including our charter schools, have chosen to go with Region 19 as an authorized provider. Now, they can choose to go with Region 19 by local implementation or to just receive the entire training, from Region 19. And so we do have different districts that chose different pathways in terms of either local implementation or Region 19 as an authorized provider to provide the entire training. And so just to give you an idea, those districts that chose to go with Region 19 as a direct service provider are listed right there at the bottom of this slide. Del City, Sierra Blanca, Fort Hancock, Tornillo, Fabian, San Elizario, Canotillo, Burnhamwood, and La Fe. These particular schools have decided to go with Region 19 to receive the entire training, all the modules covered and facilitated by Region 19. You see there the fees per participant by going through the blended model. It is a charge of $400 per participant. For the comprehensive, it would have been a $3,000 per participant. Well, when you see that, of course, all of these districts here chose, no, this would be too much. So we're going to go with $400 per participant to go with Region 19 in terms of the blended model. As far as local implementation, we have Anthony, Clint, Socorro, and Isleta, who decided to go with local implementation, which basically means that they want to build capacity with their own districts by having some of their own people go through the cohort leader training process and receiving support from Region 19 in terms of training, management, oversight, and any other kind of support that we can provide as an authorized provider to make sure that they are going to be delivering successfully all these modules for their 2 to 3 teachers in their respective districts. As you can see, there are the flat fee rates that were established by the state, by the way. If they chose, for every cohort leader that they want to go through to deliver the blended model, they're paying a cost of $10,000. or if they choose to go with comprehensive, they are going to be paying a flat fee of $12,000 per cohort leader. So at the end of these trainings, their cohort leaders will be able to deliver that training in-house to their particular districts, and with an MOU with the service center, receive the support that we're prepared to deliver so that they can be successful with the K-3 Reading Academy modules. Once the cohorts are developed and they go forward, those K-3 teachers, then there's 3 different ways that the participants can engage with the content in terms of solidifying their understanding and delivery of the science of teaching reading within their K-3 classrooms. So they can be general and special education teacher pathways, or they can go ahead and go through the biliteracy pathway. Participants that there's a lot of dual language programs that are just taking off here in our region. And so I suspect that there's going to be a lot of demand also for the biliteracy pathway. Or there's also a third pathway, for those principals, those instructional campus leaders that want to engage with reading academies, but from the principal's perspective. Then there is a third way that they can engage in the content. So really, it is about preparing our teachers, K-3, whether they're in the general ed, special education, classroom, all teachers in the biliteracy pathway as well will deliver or will receive all the preparation necessary to strengthen the way forward in terms of reading instruction in their classrooms. You can see here the scope and sequence of what each module contains. Every single one of these are key to building or developing the strengths of the teachers as they improve their instruction for reading. There's also in orange a list of modules that are specifically designed for the biliteracy path. So in addition to the other modules, those dual language instructors or teachers in the bilingual classroom setting are going to take an additional layer of modules where they are going to focus on the development of the Spanish as a language reading skill that will strengthen their biliteracy path. So together here at Region 19 with our other departments, all of us together come as well as with our districts, because our districts are very much partners in this initiative, as we're all looking to make sure that every single student in K-3 is receiving the best reading instruction possible so that they can be successful in the upper grades. So at this time, any questions I'm happy to respond to. Thank you for the opportunity.
Any questions, members?
No questions.
Yes, Mr. Blasquez, I would like to just, first of all, I want to say thank you to Jose for sharing and putting these thoughts together. I will tell you that when it comes to Region 19, because of the credit of the work and credit to the directors, we seem to be one step ahead. When we talk about the reading academies, that is something that the state has implemented for this coming year. The conversation started last year, but prior to that, which was actually 3-4 years ago, as a region through RAC, we had talked about the one area that we felt needed to be addressed as a whole. And these are the superintendents, and their talk was, and their focus was reading. And so when this came about, it's almost like it fit right into what we were planning already. So now we have a vehicle by which we can do it, and we're excited. I will tell you that other areas, other regions are actually kicking the can down the road. They're saying, well, because of all this, let's hold off. I believe we have a 3-year window to do this, Jose?
Yes, sir.
And because of that, many have said, well, let's just hold off. And we've decided that there's no better time than the present. And so albeit it is a little different than what we were hoping for, we're gonna take the bull by the horns and we're gonna make it work. And so we're implementing now, And so as we're going through this process, as soon as the state gives us the green light from their standpoint, then we'll start our first trainings. And so we're excited. I know that Jose and his team are doing a fantastic job, but that includes also everyone else. So thank you, Jose, for your work, and also the other directors who are right along with him. So,
That's really outstanding. We appreciate certainly yourself, sir, and the directors for always being not a step ahead, but a leap ahead, because we're always when we visit with other regions and other boards and the 20 regions across Texas, we hear what they have to say. We're not critical of it there, but we certainly applaud what we know that we have here in terms of our directors and certainly our executive directors. So we very much appreciative, Jose, of the work that you and the rest of the We Are 19 team has put forth in the reading academies. And Dr. Aguirre alluded to taking the bull by the horns. I guess in this case we take the book by the horns in a reading academy. So
the book by the pages.
And there you go. That's even better.
May I make a comment?
Yes, indeed.
I was going to say, personal experience, I know if you can get a kid to read, by the time they're in the 3rd grade, they've got it made. Because I was the world's lousiest student in 1st and 2nd grade. Then I discovered books. It was all over. I was still a lousy student, but
but a great reader.
Oh, yes, everything.
So any other comments from the board? There being none, then we go to the announcements and information, again, on the yellow sheet that is before you.
And thank you, Mr. Zablasky. So the first announcement deals regarding our ESC 19 summer hours. And I will tell you that the last time we talked, of course, it's a moving target, and we felt like, well, should we keep the same hours and not worry about the summer schedule? But in talking to the directors and Sonia, we decided that it'd probably be best for various reasons. One, it allows our building an opportunity to close for 3 days, and that in itself lends itself to savings for one, and from the safety standpoint, right? That means no one's in it for 3 days, and so that allows whatever's out there doing us wrong to maybe subside even more. So I think it's a win-win situation. So because of that, we're going to go ahead and continue with we could always change it if necessary, but I feel that we need to at least try. And so we're going to go ahead and start our summer schedule to include our Head Start and have them as best they can. There's some situations where they need to. ECI is another example where they will be on the clock on Fridays, but not necessarily in the building. So other than that, though, the majority of our staff will be off on Fridays, and so they'll have 10-day work days, and 10 hour, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
10-day work days. How's that work? It's because here at Region 19, we're very good. But no, all kidding aside, yes, a 10-hour workday, and we'll continue with our considering safety first, but making sure we take care of business. And like I told the staff, I told the directors, and I really want to share this with you all as well. I told them that the way I see this, it's not about the quantity of work, it's the quality of work. And so what we need to do is bear down and utilize the time where we're in effect doing what we need to do it to the best of our ability, so that we can take advantage of that and make it happen, as opposed to just going through the motions and not really getting as far as we can. So we're going to put it to the test, and I believe everyone is to live up to that expectation. So, any thoughts on that? Anybody?
I think we're certainly in agreement, safety first, and of course, quality is always better than quantity. You get quantity and have to kick it back and get it done again, do it over, if you will. It's of no value, so quality comes first. And as we mentioned in the previous presentation, we're already leaps ahead, so we just want to stay leaps ahead. We don't have to push it any harder than that, if you will.
Thank you for sharing that. So then our next announcement is the CT Virtual Education Conference, and I would like to have Angie out on, since she's here, if she doesn't mind. She didn't know I was gonna put her on the spot, but if she doesn't mind stepping forward and sharing a little bit about that, only because this puts in perspective what we're doing as an organization. We're not just canceling our trainings, we're actually just adapting our trainings to better serve our needs. So with that said, I'm gonna ask Angie to share a little bit about how that's working and how that's a model for other trainings that are taking place as well.
And the board has a handout, so.
Thank you, Mr. Sabowski, Dr. Weaver, members of the board. So in fact, we tried as much as possible to stay with normal operations. And we were considering perhaps having the conference in August, but we decided normal operations, and also to honor the teachers' time, we were gonna have, keep with the same schedule, have it June 10th. So we have essentially transformed all the sessions into virtual sessions. So the teachers are going to be logging into the conference virtually. We're going to be using Zoom as a main platform through the webinar feature. So we're able to quickly pull out reports on attendance and participation, even as far as the time that participants are logging in. This is important for the CTE directors and for other district personnel, as some teachers in certain districts are going to be even given a stipend for attending, for being present. Other districts are offering a holiday exchange, so teachers make sure that they attend the training. The presenters were actually very, very flexible. They're willing to also log in virtually, do their presentations virtually. So we have a wide array of presentations ranging from everything from cybersecurity all the way to health science panels. We have presenters from IBM, from InfoSec on cybersecurity training and best practices, also on careers in that area. And our featured speakers, Ms. Martin, she is a phenomenal counselor that is involved with the college board and in many boards at the national level. So she's going to be providing some strategies just for all teachers and all the educators on how to be counselors within their own classrooms. And TEA is rolling out counseling models that involve really the whole campus. So it's not just the counselors, the teachers, the administrators that participate in some of this advising for students. So she has a lot of really neat ideas as to how to make other people comfortable who have not participated in advising and really been in that forefront for students. We're also going to have Texas Education Agency logging in as also our main speakers and Jobs for the Future. So Texas Education Agency and Jobs for the Future are partners in one of the 10 Texas Regional Pathways grant that we have here at the Service Center. So they're going to be talking to us about how the pathways that we selected in our region based on high demand, high wage jobs, which are IT and health science, very timely during this pandemic. How we're going to move forward in making sure that these opportunities are embedded for all students throughout the K through 12 spectrum. So they're excited to be with us. They were also very accommodating in making sure that everything was done virtually. So I'll be happy to report once the conference takes place, and hopefully you'll be able to join us as well, as we have very dynamic speakers that are going to be presenting at the conference. So if you all have any questions, please let me know.
I can only say, wow. That's very exciting. Well, and for career technology education, how appropriate that we're going to do it virtually. So congratulations. Again, we're not holding off on anything. We're moving forward. That's amazing.
Yes, yes, and our attendance, is actually very, very good. Yes, so far we've had 400, or a little over 400 participants already registered.
That is
We're
awesome.
expecting more, so, we'll definitely let you know how, that turns out.
Wow,
Very good.
that is really awesome.
Good.
One advantage with virtual is you don't have to worry about not having enough chairs.
That's right.
Indeed.
Thank you, Angie, for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Any other
Thank you.
comments from the board?
Awesome.
None.
Appreciate you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
I will add that this particular conference is very indicative of what the other directors have been doing. They've taken what was already scheduled and just adapted. And so, as far as I know, I don't want to say that we haven't, but those are all the teachers we have. Everything else is being modified to become a virtual learning opportunity, and they kept it going. And so that's the process. And so when you hear the financial report, you'll see how that's been working out. So, kudos to everybody, for all our staff, all our professional consultants who are doing the training, and they have to adapt accordingly. I believe they did a training for our Head Start program. They did a fantastic job with Barbara Miles with that. And so everyone seems to be rolling with the punches and making sure that we keep getting the services that we committed to do.
Thanks again.
And the last announcement has to do with Maleo. I'm sure by now you figured out that it won't be happening. And so at least not on site, but it's scheduled. They haven't yet given us the exact dates, so that is to be determined. But we'll keep you posted. And I believe a good chunk of you have been registered already. So we'll let you know if you are registered. And if others want to be registered, I don't know if it's going to be possible. At least those who are going to go to the are not registered. We'll have opportunity to get on and be part of the conference. I think it'd be a good opportunity for us to see how they do.
Indeed.
And yeah, for us, I might ask some of our directors to join me on that. So that they can kind of get a feel for how they do it right now. I don't work with others. So,
Or at least find out how much, never mind. I don't know how much better we are. I know. Don't want to push the envelope
I
too much.
agree. I see what you're saying. That's,
So again, no, any other comments? There being none, we move to item 7, which is our Head Start Policy Council meetings.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sabowski and members of the board, Dr. Aguirre. Our next policy council meeting will be held next week on Tuesday, May the 26th. We're going to be hosting it also virtually as we've done the past 2 months. And it will start at 12:30. Those of you that would like to join us, we'll send you the Zoom link so that you can partake in that meeting. And also to advise you that come June, we will not have a policy council meeting, but in July, we'll have it on Tuesday the 28th. Okay, and we'll also be virtual at 12:30 in the afternoon.
And just for your information, I apologize that on Tuesday at that time, I can't come. So, but I know that Fred Sanchez is generally just always there and present at County Board. So I know we have representation from the board, but I just apologize that change of time, kind of conflicts with some other commitments that I have at that time. And so we move to item 8, the Head Start Director's Report on page 60 and 67.
So for this report, I want to share with you that we are on our 11th month of operation. We will finish up the grant year on June 30th, 2020. Currently, we have no changes in our funding. In regards to the service area and population information under the director's report, I do want to highlight that again, although our 31 centers are closed due to the COVID-19, we do have 23 centers that are providing instructional materials that continue to do that via curbside. And then we have 8 Head Start centers that are providing both breakfast and lunch meals and instruction of kids from 10 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I do want to share with you that this week will be the last week that we offer instructional materials and meals, because the next 2 weeks we're going to focus on meeting full enrollment for the 2021 school year. Okay, as mandated before they go off on summer break. On the next page, page 2 of this report, under program data, activities, and milestones, shortly during the agenda, Ms. Sonia Eubank will present to you the monthly financial report. She'll also highlight any credit card expenditures that have been made by Head Start or Early Head Start. And under monthly program information summaries, I'm happy to report that although our centers are closed, you will find all the different activities that each of the service areas, even under COVID, have continued to provide services either remotely, virtually, to our parents, to our families. You'll see activities such as ongoing speech therapy, via teletherapy to our families, our children. So you'll get to see all those different activities for our service areas that took place in the month of April. Under program enrollment and attendance, you'll find that data under Appendix B, and it'll reflect the month of April. For the early Head Start data, it's going to show you that we have 375 children that we served for the month of April. The attendance for the month of April is not being reported as I reported that to you. Currently, we're not reporting attendance for either or program due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For Head Start, though, I do want to report to you that we do have, we are serving 3,820 children, which indicates 163 slots that were available in the month of April. However, currently, I do want to share with you that as of May 11th, when I asked for the enrollment, because I have to report to you how we're doing, how we're progressing, we are showing that we served 3,878 children with now 105 slots. But I'm happy to report that I asked today how we are doing as of today, the 20th, and we only have 53 slots available.
Oh, awesome. Fantastic.
So the COVID has not held us back from our commitment to meet full enrollment. So we're working diligently on making sure that we end the school year with full enrollment.
Wonderful.
And then that we start working on our 2021 enrollment. We held a virtual training for our family service workers and center managers Tuesday of this week, so that we could get them going in their enrollment. Okay. In regards to the monthly meal report, again, due to COVID and the center closures, you would have thought that we would have had maybe lower numbers of meals that are being provided, but quite the contrary. You'll see that we provided, not the same as always, right? But the grab and go meals that we provided to infant, toddlers, preschoolers at our 8 Head Starts totaled up to 5,202 meals, grab and go, that were provided. Under challenges, changes, and informational items that I wanted to share with you is that we did successfully upload all 4 applications on May 15th, which was the cost of living adjustment that will afford us the opportunity to give each of our Head Start employees a 2% increase. So that's quite a blessing.
Yes.
We also submitted the quality improvement application funding that was in conjunction with the cost of living. This is money that we will continue to receive. And I'm very happy that that money for the quality improvement is specifically retargeted so that we can continue to certify our Head Start teachers to become state certified. And we already have a cohort that's going through the program, through the Region 19 program, to become certified. The teachers were just super excited when I called called each and every one of them about starting the certification on May the 4th. And I mean, some were even in tears. So this funding is also going to allow us to, after they receive their certification, is pay them a salary that's comparable to what the districts are paying. And so, you know, I mean, I didn't even share that with them because they were more excited about becoming certified. So we're very excited about piloting that out. And then a little bit of the funding, we also used it because the guidance that the Office of Head Start offered was really, you know, like highly encouraging. And they even used that word in the guidance that we set aside some funding for trauma, a trauma-informed approach, so that we could really look at the mental health piece. And so we did, and we allocated some funding and spoke to the approach we want to implement in our program. And so we successfully also uploaded that one on May 15th. Then the third one was the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security CARES funding, which was a part 2. It was a summer program application, and then part 2 was a one-time COVID funding application. Again, those 2 we also uploaded on May the 15th. One by one, they went in. The summer program is going to allow us the opportunity, if we are allowed in the city, right, given the regulations, to open up, to provide services to about 1,030 Head Start children that are transitioning to kindergarten, and that they have an individualized education plan, that they have a diagnosed disability in our program. And so if we do, we have identified 21 centers where we're going to implement the summer program and have a classroom of about 10 children, again, taking over precautionary measures. But that will only happen if we are allowed to citywide. If not, they might offer that money in another way for us to do that. Okay? And then
We will be creative.
especially with funding opportunities. And then the last application, which is associated to the CARES funding, is the one-time COVID-19, and I will present that to you shortly. But we really wanted to dedicate the one-time COVID funding of about $1 million, $1.2 million, I think, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see it shortly, on technology. Our infrastructure, enhancing it, on technology pieces themselves, laptop, because our program is starting to prepare on what's forthcoming, given what we hear the districts are doing in our meetings with Dr. Aguirre, in our SBCs. We're starting to plan that, you know, again, if we don't do the summer program, more than likely we're going to do virtual. So we're preparing for that, as Dr. Aguirre has led us to, again, always be proactive and start thinking of those things. So that's why we dedicated that one-time funding to support the virtual learning that's going to happen. And so, again, successfully, all of them were uploaded into the enterprise on May 15th. The other piece of notification that I wanted to share with you is that all this week we have been participating in our focus area 1 monitoring review. It is a this review, and I'm going to show it in a little bit as part of the action items for Head Start. But again, we started on Monday. Ms. Julie Quaid has been our federal reviewer. She's been on the other line, and we've been on the other line. And so today was day 4, and every day it just seems to get better. The team members every single day, as you will see shortly, have been amazing in responding so confidently and just really doing a great job of describing the services that we provide here in the El Paso ESC 19 Head Start program in both Tuxtla and El Paso. So you'll get to see a little bit more about that in a little bit. So any questions for me?
I have no questions, just applause.
Yes.
Thank you for continuing to focus on the little guys that you know, obviously, you know, Kathy's comment earlier about reading is something that we want to excite the kids about books, and difficult to do when they're not present.
Right.
But the fact that we continue to provide them services and provide the learning materials to the parents is outstanding. And so we applaud all this part of our ESC 19 Head Start program does. So we appreciate you.
Yes, and we do it collectively.
Yes, of
Mr.
course.
Zablowski, as Dr.
course.
Aguirre mentioned, because we work as directors, Ms. Otto is we're going to be looking at some material that's going to support our little learners right in Head Start. So I'm eager to talk to her about that. But Ms. Amaya and her team, the training that's provided to our teachers so that they are also implementing strategies that support the development of literacy language in our children and a love for reading as well, which is critical for their success.
And of course, the certification is of course also a collaboration. And so that one just gives me chills because that is phenomenal. I don't know. And I don't know if you know if there's anything similar in any other program across the nation that is doing anything even remotely close to that. So just thank you all for everything that you do. Truly, the collaboration of the team, the ESC 19 team, is very noticeable because we share those resources and approaches and we're able to certify teachers that bring us again in partnership with the school districts and what I appreciate the most that you said was that we will pay them commensurate to what the districts are paying, and therefore will retain them in our program. So how awesome is that? That's just phenomenal.
So thank you, Dr. Aguirre, for your vision, because that's been his vision always to improve the lives of our Head Start team members. It's one of his visions, and we're gladly happy to support it. Like you said, Mr. Zablowski, there could be other models out there in Head Start programs, but not quite like ours. So we're setting the pathway for other Head Start programs that want to certify their teachers and grow them and help them also grow professionally, because the gains that they will make as an educator through the certification process is also going to be, like one teacher told me, that in itself is a reward for me, because you're helping me grow as an educator. So, I get chills every time I remember those phone calls that I did on a one-to-one, because at first I was afraid, but no. On the other hand, I was almost in tears with them too. So thank you, thank you, Dr. Aguirre, for your guidance and leadership. Thank you so much.
Obviously, those were kind words and thank you for sharing. But the whole team at Head Start, they're the ones that are running with this, and so we come up with ideas, and every department kind of runs with theirs, but we're focusing on Head Start right now. But Ms. Rodriguez and her team there, John, sure, Mrs. David.
Can't hear Dr. Gary.
I'm sorry?
Can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
No.
Okay, well, let me speak up a little
Speak to
bit.
that mic.
Is this better? My hair better?
Yes.
Well, I was just saying that I want to thank Suki Rodriguez and her team, David, Aye, Ramona Huffman, John Alarcon, Guillermo Martinez, for their hard work, what they're doing out there, because they really have taken our ideas, Service Center ESC 19, and implemented them. So I appreciate that. Thank you for your work.
So that moves us to item 9, which is the proposed 2020-2021 work calendar for the ESC 19 main building. You'll find that on page 68. Okay. Yes.
David Biden put together the work calendar for next fiscal year. What he does is he obtains the schedules for every school district and then kind of consolidates and ensures that we're available when they're available. So we do have a 235 working day calendar for for approval or for information?
It's information.
And this is for the growing staff. Head Start will provide their own next month.
Yes, because we align to the Region 19 calendar and districts.
Any questions or comments regarding the calendar?
Just that I appreciate getting it so we can, post it on our wall and go, okay, this is when things are happening.
There being no additional comments, then we move on to item 10, which is 2021 budget calendar, which is, you find the memorandum on page 70.
Every year we bring a budget calendar to the board as to how we are preparing our headlines to be budget presentation to the board. And of course, we're distributing budgets this Friday, giving our staff about 3 weeks to put something together, and then we consolidate, put it together, run numbers, make sure it's in balance. And then we have, of course, the annual budget review with our board members scheduled for July 16th, which is the day of our board meeting. So we want to plan that to start before the board meeting, like we usually have, maybe for working lunch, if possible. And then, of course, we'll have our joint direct meeting in August where we will present that budget to them, and then for approval on August 20th.
And let me apologize to Dr. Aguirre and I don't know, I didn't really say it to you, but I said to Dr. Aguirre, and I'm sure we came to you with it, but I look at our budget and I think it's school district and they're doing theirs before us. Of course, we have to see what they budgeted before we can budget. So my apologies, because I sometimes I jump ahead of it. So I wanted to publicly apologize to you all for that work. I know it's always impeccable work. I've always, to your point earlier, when you've mentioned it, it's when we look at budget, we're always so pleased. I think John Elder always has a smile on his face because everything is always showing productivity for us through all of the different programs. And so anyway, my apologies. Anyone else have any commentary regarding the budget calendar?
No.
Okay, there being none, then we move then to item I, which is a discussion item for our finance report on page, beginning on the memorandum on page 72.
Yes, members of the board, we are reporting 8 months into our fiscal year. The reports are showing figures up through the end of April 30th. So for our general fund, which is our operating budget, we have revenues.
And I'm going to ask you to slow down because technology is slower than you. Just let him get up so that we can have it all where it needs to be. I mean, we can see it, but we want to make sure everyone else can see it as well. There we go.
So for our general fund, we are reporting 8 months into our fiscal year. Total revenues through the end of April, $6.9 million. As we compare it to budget, we should be at about 6.8. And so we are ahead of budget by 62,800. So we are positively operating within the organization. As you look at revenue through each of the categories, we have local, state, and federal. Local revenue compared to budget, we are 179,000 ahead of budget, which is wonderful. And then for state funding, we have a shortfall of 229,000. As you all know, we were promised that we were going to get our $500 per employee funding from the legislature. We have not seen that funding. I don't expect that we may be getting that funding throughout the end of this fiscal year. So we are anticipating and working without those funds. But needless to say, even though we're not receiving those funds, we have a net income in our operating budget, and we are expending frugally because we had anticipated that we were not going to receive those funds. And so that's where that state shortfall is at. For federal funding, as we compare what we are getting in indirect costs compared to budget, we are at $113,000 ahead of budget. So that's where our positive variance compared to budget comes from. For total expenditures, we have expended 5.6 million. Compared to budget, we should be at about 7 million. As you can see, we have a positive variance in expenditures of 1.4 million. As Dr. Aguirre and I were reviewing this last week, we're looking at it close. Now we have 1 full month where we have been working remotely, but we're happy to say that it has not stopped us. You know, staff has been great. Kudos to them.
Awesome.
You know, we planned for this. At the SBC, and you know, none of our sessions were canceled. We gave them a report, what was scheduled, and they were good about going in there and switching those training sessions to virtual sessions.
Awesome.
And it has been a very positive effect, and it's been great for our budget. So we continue seeing some of our local revenue coming in. And so when we look at net change in fund balance, which is what's highlighted with light blue, we are reporting a net income of 1.3, when last month we reported 1.1. And we were saying we'll break even with indirect, but no, the extra revenue that was brought in through local made our net income grow by another $200,000, which is wonderful. Then the next two lines, construction, well, of course, you know, we are going through construction, so we're gonna start seeing those figures grow, which means that they'll be tapping into our net income and fund balance. So with those construction costs in place, we're almost close to 1 million. We're $964,000 that we paid out in construction costs, which leaves our fund balance with construction costs at close to $350,000. So that is the gain net of construction costs. So that increases our fund balance through the end of April to $17 million.
Awesome.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Next report is same information except broken down by function code, which is required by PA, and of course I highlighted again the two major costs within our budget, which is administration and professional development. Next report. This report is our Head Start expenditure report for the expansion grant, and this one it was for last fiscal year, the funds that got rolled over. So we have collected 37.4 million, which is what's highlighted there under revenues. We do have a $49.6 million budget, and so we've expended to date 37.5 million. We have an encumbrance column, which is not highlighted, but we have 505,000 in POs or contracts that have obligated some of these funds. And so we have about 11.5 million funds available. And so when we look at what we collected and what we've expended, we still have about $134,000 that is due to us to capture. So we are trying to collect the funds as soon as we expend them as much as possible, because we know that we have to have that cash flow going as we're going through construction. Next report. So this is our Head Start report for the current fiscal year 20. We have a $41 million budget. We've collected almost 27 million for total revenues. For total expended, we've expended 29 million. Encumbrance and obligations, about 8.46. That includes payroll grant through the end of the grant year. And so we still have about 3.4 of funds available that are unobligated at this time, with the granting agency owing us about $2 million for fiscal year. Next report. Our next report gives you a snap picture of all the funds, governmental funds that we receive. So it gives you our operating, our Head Start, and of course, all of our other grants that we manage. We manage another 32 different funds, grant programs, and we've collected $7 million from those grants, and we've expended about 8.7. We have a negative fund balance. We've had to fund the grants until we get reimbursed of 1.6 million. The last column, which shows the total governmental funds revenue collected to date, we have received 36.6 million in funding. We have expended 40 million, and so we have about 3.4 million due to us, to the ESC, which came out of our net income and fund balance, and which leaves us with an ending fund balance at the end of April of 13.3 million. That's why it's important that we always maintain, reserves in the bank to cover some of these. Next report. This is our balance sheet for our governmental funds. We have total assets of 31.9, liabilities of 18.6, total fund balance of 13.3 million. Our next report shows our proprietary funds or our enterprise funds business activity. For the total enterprise funds, that is comprised of our school zone, our co-op, and the cyber cafe. The cyber cafe has not generated any revenue nor any expenditures because of the COVID, and we had just initially started that funding opportunity, but for now it's at a standstill. And so we did invest on some equipment that we needed to get it started. So that's why you see a net loss there. But for our co-op, which is the middle column, we do have a net income of 767,000. We have experienced, as we compare to other years, a loss in revenue there, of course, because a drop in revenue, not a loss, sorry, due to the school districts being closed, and so much expenditures, a lot of the expenditures, revenues collected is based on what the districts are using our co-op, and then we get a fee from them. So we are experiencing a drop about, from the last time I checked, maybe about $80,000 between March and April for the co-op. And so, but even though we have this situation, the total enterprise fund has a operating income, a net income of 753,000. And so increases our net position to $9.5 million. And then for our total internal service funds, we have revenues of 1.1, expenditures at 2.5. Of those 2.5, 1.5 is payments to our architect and other fees that we've incurred. So that's 1.5 of 1.5 is for that. And so that's why we have an operating loss of 1.3 million. So if we would not have had that construction cost, then our internal service fund would be operating at a net income. And so that leaves our net position or ending fund balance, as you all know, at almost 4.7 million for our internal service. This is our balance sheet for our business activities. So we have Total assets of 9.5 for enterprise, and then respectively for insurance service funds 4.6. Total liabilities 12.6 for enterprise funds, negative 2,500 for our internal service fund, and then our net position of 9.5 and 4.6. So the following reports are just detailed reports for what makes up our internal service funds, as well as all the credit card activity for our Head Start programming of the credit cards that would be organization.
Was there any questions from the board regarding our financial report?
No questions.
None.
As always, it's an excellent report. We appreciate all the work that you and your team put together. All of what everyone else has generated and keeping us straight. And we've never had a negative report. How many years, may I ask, have you been with us?
12 years.
12 years.
No.
Not once have we had a negative report. So we truly appreciate the fine work that you and the finance team do in keeping our finances straight. So that moves us to our action items. We have item number 12, which is consideration and possible approval of purchasing methodology for Head Start projects is limited, as listed, including job order contracting, cooperative purchases, and competitive sealed proposals, beginning on page 87 and 89.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Do we have any further discussion? There being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next item is item 13, consideration and possible approval of reorganization of the Board of Directors, election of officers. So at this time, I'd like to open up the nominations for chair.
I nominate David to run again.
I second it.
We have a nomination. Are there any other nominations?
Move that nominations cease.
There's a motion that nominations cease, and there's a second. Okay, all in favor of the nomination cease, say aye.
Aye.
All same sign. Motion carries. All those in favor of David say aye.
Aye.
Same sign. Motion carries. Thank you all for your vote of confidence. We do have we all are eligible for a second term. As our policy reads, we have 1 year term. We are eligible for a second 1 year term as officers. So we're open up the nominations for vice chair, or vice president.
Vice Chair. I nominate Fred.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a nomination of Fred Sanchez. Any other nominations?
Move that nominations cease.
I have a motion that nominations cease. Do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All those in favor of the nominations ceasing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All those in favor of Fred Sanchez serving as vice chair, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Delighted.
We'll open up the nominations for a secretary. I hear a nomination. Anyone?
Nominate Kathy Becker.
Can't be. Can I?
No,
No.
you're resigning.
Just for that, I'm nominating John Elder.
Move to cease nominations.
No, we need a second for that nomination.
Okay.
For John Elder.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second John Elder, for John Elder, and then do we have a motion for the nominations cease? Fred Sanchez, do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second. So all those in favor of the nomination cease, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then all those in favor of John Elder serving as secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Sure. Thank you, John.
The one vote against is not sufficient. We have a secretary elected.
I guess
Well-
officially it's us.
That's the first time in 20 years that anybody's voted against anything.
Isn't that a bad thing? So again, thank you all. Congratulations to Fred and John Elder. I know that it's a great place to serve. Kathy was sharing that before the meeting even began, that if there's a place to be on the board, this is the place to be on the board.
Yes.
And it's because of the folks that serve in the departments, to the person that is responsible for maintaining. I mean, when we come into this facility, it's an impeccable facility. Everything is in its place. Sanitation wise, we never find anything out of place. So from a bus driver to a person who's a custodial individual, there's pride in the work that is being done. And from there all the way to the executive director and everyone in between, it's just a joy to serve. And so we appreciate you all very much. And having said that, we do have additional business to attend to. And so we'll move ahead to.
May I make a comment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just wanted to take a moment to also thank the officers who served this past year, starting with Mr. Sablaski for doing a great job as chair, but also Ms. Patricia Ramirez as our vice chair, doing a great job. Thank you for doing that. And also Mr. Joe Limon for his work as secretary. So thank you guys. As the executive director, I could tell you that working with this particular board, specifically those three individuals this past year, has been fantastic. Like every other officer-led board has been great. I look forward also to the three officers that we have this coming year. So thank you all for doing it. And again, thank you, Ms. Ramirez and Mr. Limon, for your job this past year.
Yes. So we move on to item 14, which is a sad moment, I must say. Yet, you know, all good things must come to an end, as they say, for whatever reasons. And so I have a letter from Kathy Becker, and it says, "I'm writing this letter to announce my resignation from the Region 19 Board of Directors effective May 22nd, 2020. I have enjoyed my tenure with the organization, but circumstances have changed which impact my ability to perform my duties as a board member. It has been an honor to serve on this board. I will always be grateful for the opportunity to work with the amazing employees and board members that comprise the Region 19 Education Service Center. Sincerely, Kathy Becker." So having said that, we certainly appreciate very much the work that you always have done, your dedication to do it. It's just amazing, and we all always appreciate it. We may not have seen the last of Kathy, although in what she considers a lesser responsibility, although it's equal in responsibility in my view, although it's it's a different way to serve. But having said that, I'll turn it over to Dr. Aguirre. And we also have with us today, of course, Blanca Topete, who serves as our representative representing our charter schools here at Education Service Center Region 19 in both Hudspeth and El Paso County. And so today is her last meeting in that position as well. And having said that, then I will turn it over to Dr. Aguirre.
Okay. Well, I will start first with Ms. Kathy Becker. Again, thank you for all the years of service, and also thanks for being part of the group that hired me. I appreciate that.
Believe me, I appreciate that you applied.
But I put on my mask because I'd like to approach you, so I can give you your plaque.
I always feel like I'm going to rob something. So you're not getting rid of me, at least.
Congratulations.
For those of you who don't know, the reason I have resigned isn't because you're getting rid of me. I will be your next charter school representative. And the reason I wanted to do that is, as you may know, my husband has Parkinson's. I know my time on the board is going to be limited, but this way you'll have time to replace me with somebody who I believe hopefully will be as good or I am. And I will have an indefinite endpoint, because I figure in 3 years I'm probably going to have to retire anyway. But I've loved being here. There's nobody like you. You know, if every board was like this, our schools would be amazing. Thank you.
And this is for Ms. Blanca Topete, who has served as our charter member, but as Mr. Sablaski said, you couldn't tell because her dedication and work ethic with this board has been fantastic. So I don't know if you can hear me with this mask. Can't hear me without it. But I'd like to approach you and give you this. Thank you for all your years of service.
Appreciate it.
Would you like to say something?
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure serving on this board. And I am also hoping that this is not my last position here, but we shall see. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you both for your service. We're much appreciative of the time commitment. Being present at the meetings is sometimes a challenge, especially, you know, when you have someone at home that needs additional care, and when you have a young children that are still in school. But you know, we always hear at least the heels coming down the hallway from Mr. Topete, and with Kathy, we hear her zooming in with her car.
I got a slower car.
She does do some racing, by the way. I don't know if you all know that. And so anyway, nonetheless, we appreciate you, and we too hope that your services will continue to be rendered here for the betterment of all the children in Education Service Center Region 19. With that, we move to item K, which is Head Start governance action items. Consideration and possible approval of governing action items for the Head Start program. We have 2 items today that we would need to take action on. One is the first one is accept the submittal of the COVID-19 one-time funding application for Head Start and early Head Start. Ms. Rodriguez.
Board Chair, Mr. Sablaski, Dr. Aguirre, board members, first and foremost, thank you, Ms. Becker, for all the service that you have provided all of us at Region 19, and of course, Ms. Topete, too. Again, we hope it's not the last, that we'll see you very soon. And so, although the one-time, the COVID one-time funding did not require board approval or policy council approval, we wanted to make sure that we had acceptance from the board and policy council. Although we had submitted them on May 15th, we still wanted to have it for the record. As I mentioned to you during the director's report, and I don't know if you could see, but the total amount, I wasn't that way off when I said it was 1.2. So they allocated 1,155,070 for Head Start program operations, and then 113,680 for early Head Start. But combined together, it was a total of 1,268,750. Okay, which all of that funding, as I stated to you earlier, is going to go to really supporting our technology area, because COVID during this time, and that's what we were asked as a program to utilize. And we can go to the next slide. This is a one-time funding piece that's going to be awarded to us, and it was allocated on our enrollment. So, those 3,000 children that we serve in Head Start, and then the 392 in early, and that's how they came up with the funding piece. And so, again, it was also, it didn't require a narrative. This was the easiest application. I wish all of them, especially those facility applications that are really, anywho. So it was easy peasy to really just put the funding where we needed to put it in the S424 inside the enterprise. And it also did not require a non-federal share waiver, because all we had to do is put 0 on that area, and it automatically granted us the waiver for non-federal share, so we didn't have to write anything or submit an application for that waiver. And again, we're going to receive it with our 2021 funding. So they were really persistent on us making sure we do that, because they're already working on our continuation application. And then simultaneously, we're also in the midst of receiving a budget revision that you approved for us to submit, in which some of that Natureseum funding was allocated for instructional material and a parking lot for David Zablosky Natureseum. So that this, I think it's going to come pretty soon. And so that's really the information I wanted to share with you. Again, thank you always for your support in what we do in Head Start. We know it starts with Dr. Aguirre, and then of course, it's a collaborative effort, as he mentioned earlier, with our directors and SDC, because we really work as a team of one. So thank you for that.
So we need a motion to accept the submittal of the COVID-19 one-time funding application for Head Start and Early Head Start as presented. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to accept.
Motion and a second for John Elder. If I may, John, second?
Yes.
Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then our next item is Focus Area 1 Monitoring Review.
So this is our official first federal monitoring from the Office of Head Start. And this one was going to operate virtually to begin with. So it wasn't because of the COVID that we did it virtually. It originally, when they revised the monitoring protocol for the Office of Head Start, they changed this particular focus area. Instead of us having a team of people come that first time, they first do a virtual conversation. And so in the next slide of this presentation, I share with you the purpose of why they do this. This is an opportunity for us as a grantee to discuss our program design, to describe our management system, to talk about our governance structure. How does the governing body and the policy council work together to have full and complete oversight of the Head Start program. And so there were different areas. There were 5 areas that we have had a conversation with Ms. Julie Quaid, who's been the reviewer. Again, the approach is that it's been off-site. The methodology is, of course, that they want to make sure before she even contacted me, she went into the Head Start enterprise and she looked at our grant application She looked at our goals, our program design, our vision, mission, core beliefs, the school readiness goals. So she looked at all of that. She looked at our program information report that we would submit on a yearly basis. She looked at our community assessment summary that we submit to HSES with our continuation application. She looked at our past monitoring reviews that we had prior, our self-assessment data, and our annual report, and any audits that we have within the enterprise to gain a perspective of who we are as an organization in paper. So she did all her homework before, then gave me a call, and then we started to build the schedule for the whole week that has been going on, and it started on Monday, the 18th. On the next slide, it shows the protocol, how it's divided into 5 topics of conversation that we have had with her. On Monday, we started off with program design and management, and it was myself along with the 4 directors that we worked together as a leadership team, Jana Lacon, David Valle, Ramona Hoffman, and Guillermo Martinez. And then on Tuesday, we did designing quality education and child development program services. And it was myself alongside with Ramona Hoffman, who oversees comprehensive services, which include early Head Start and Head Start education services, as well as mental health and disability, Cynthia Montes, and Dr. Martinez, who does the outcomes for children. And so we had our conversation with her on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, we had our fiscal interview, and that was held with Ms. Eubank, who did a fine job of describing our internal controls, our fiscal processes. She did a fine job of just describing our methodology in regards to our finances and how we have, the Head Start piece and the Boeing piece, and how we just come together to ensure that we have a healthy fiscal system. And so she did such a fine job that Ms. Julie, because every day I have a 1 o'clock meeting with her, and she tells me, if there were any pondering extra questions or maybe something that wasn't quite clear, then I answered them for her at that time. But on Wednesday, she was very content with Ms. Eubank, Ms. Flores, myself, and Ms. Parra in answering those fiscal area of the infrastructure and everything else. So thank you, Ms. Eubank. Her 20 years, she's amazing. And so thank you for that. And then today we had the health program services. And so we had our health team, we had our mental health, our nutrition program manager, we had Joana Lacon in regards to the safety of the environment, Sonia Morales for operations. And again, the team did outstanding in answering all her questions and doing it with such confidence. Every single team member just did so well. And so I'm so appreciative that I get to work with amazing individuals there at Head Start. And then tomorrow we'll end up with eligibility, recruitment, selection, enrollment, and attendance, which is our IRSA strategies, and our family, community, and engagement, which will be myself, Ramona Hoffman, David Herrera for the family piece, and Susana Acevedo for the IRSA piece. So I have no doubt that we will close with a golden bow, right? Mm-hmm. And at 1 o'clock, I have no doubt that she's going to just highlight how wonderful we did in describing our program as a whole throughout this week. So I look forward to bringing you those results. The next step to this would be that then they would put together a second monitoring team of more people that would actually come on site to review all those things that we talked about during each of these 5 days that we have been conducting the first focus area 1 of monitoring. And so I think the last page I just wanted to share with you, again, the schedule of what we did every single day and who was a part of it. Okay, any questions?
There being any questions or comments regarding this focus area 1 monitoring review? There being none, what action do we need?
This was just to review.
Okay,
Just to review.
because we have it under our action item, so there really is not an action, it's just more of a report.
Yes, sir.
How about applause? That's a good
Yeah,
action.
yeah, applaud would be good. We too are confident that the report will be a golden bow.
Yes.
So a very, very nice analogy, by the way. That was nice. Any other questions regarding this report? There being none, then we really have no closed session to attend to. We did list personnel matters, appointments, resignations, terminations, workers' compensation, but there's nothing to go in and discuss. So we go all the way then to item O, which are comments and requests for information from the Board of Directors. So it'll open it up to the board for any comments and or requests. Okay, there, just two. It's just two, that's all. Okay, so there being no comments, we move to item P, which is a confirmation of our upcoming meeting date, which will be June the 25th. And we will be starting at 1:30 p.m. That's the day of our policy review. And so if you will please make plans to sign in a little bit early so that Jose can line everybody up and we can be ready to start at 1:30 promptly. Any other questions or comments that the board may have?
Just wanted to reiterate that the date is a week later, but so just to make sure that everyone understands that.
It's the fourth.
Yes, in this particular case, it's the 4th.
The fourth Thursday.
That allows us some flexibility in the next steps.
No problem. Okay, so please put it on your calendars. There being no further business, our meeting stands adjourned at 4:58 p.m.
I don't know, it's a minute before it said we were going to finish.
How amazing. Talk about planning.
Pretty good. It's pretty
Thank you all again for your attendance. We appreciate it very much.